Well, hello, fellow addicts. Welcome back to Addicts Live, your internet escape from the craziness in the world. I'm Alissa, your resident head addict, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host to the north, the American North again, Super Safi.
Hey, happy Saturday, everyone. Hope you guys are ready to put your fist up and battle it out.
Little preview of what's to come. Yes, the Addicts Crew is back once again to bring you Simpsons news and Saturday smiles. And as always, before we get into this week's show, it is time for your regular reminder to subscribe to our YouTube channel. So hit that red button so you don't miss any of the addicts. And as always, for those not watching this directly on YouTube, I will put a link to the subscribe button in the show notes below us. So let's get on with the show, shall we, Saf? We have a very special show for you today. We are nearing the start of the summer. In fact, this is Memorial Day weekend here in the U.S., which is the unofficial kickoff to summer. And for the last 6 years, summers at Addicts HQ have meant one thing, and that is the bracket battle. Everyone's favorite time of the year, and this year is no different. So as we'll feature a bracket challenge like we always do. But we thought we'd do things a little different this year, and we're going to introduce the bracket to you here on a very special episode of Addicts Live. So, a couple things you'll need to know. One, the bracket voting will kick off on June 4th, which is 1 week from today. It will follow the same formats we've always followed, so you just vote, and that'll help dictate what goes where in the brackets. And with the introduction of the bracket overall theme and picks, I am going to turn things over to our bracket battle master himself, Super Safi.
Well, thank you. Yeah, so it has been 6 years we've been doing this. We've had 7 brackets over the past 6 years, and it's time for the 8th bracket. This is one that's been requested quite a bit via emails, via comments. I've seen this requested quite a bit. So this year's bracket battle is the best splash screen. Sorry, I ruined your drum roll there. But the best splash screen. Over the past 10 years, we've had 63 splash screens. We have a 64th coming out pretty soon, which will also be, surprise, included in the bracket battle. But yes, we'll start with 64 splash screens from the 10 years of Simpsons Tapped Out. And over the summer, we will narrow it down until only one remains. So yeah, it's Saturday Smiles, but every week one will smile, one will be kicked out of the battle until only one is remaining smiling. So best splash screen. What are your thoughts on this as a bracket battle, Alissa?
I think this is an awesome bracket battle. I think this is the perfect time to do it because we have just enough brackets or just enough splash screens to fill out a bracket. But there have been some really awesome splash screens, so I think this is going to be a good one. I really do. I'm going to have some hard time voting in these based on the matchups that I know are coming. But I'm excited for this. I really am, and I think we'll find out. Instead of whose cuisine reigns supreme, a la Iron Chef, I think we'll find out which splash screen reigns supreme around here, and I think it's going to be awesome.
Great. So as Alissa mentioned, the bracket will begin on June 4th, and as you can see here on your screens now, this is the bracket, and we've categorized the 64 splash screens into 8 categories, 8 conferences. The conferences include memorable events, forgettable events, game changers, holidays, Halloween, Christmas, old school, and new school. What are your thoughts on the conferences and the layout of the bracket, Alissa?
I think there's some really cool conference lineups here. Full disclosure, I had a hand in helping Safi kind of lay these out a little bit, and it was hard. It was hard to pick which ones belonged in which conference for some of these. But I'm excited about these matchups, guys. I really am. And even some of the forgettable events, I think had memorable splash screens, so it should be interesting.
Yeah, well, like you said, even the forgettable events do have interesting splash screens. That's the key here, guys. We're not voting for the best event over the past 10 years. This is strictly based on splash screen. Which splash screen was the coolest? Which splash screen was the best? It doesn't matter how bad the event was. if the splash screen was great, you should vote for it. That's what we're looking for. Really, which was the coolest splash screen.
So if I can get over my Bart Royale bias of how much I hate that event, as everybody knows, I still think it had a pretty neat splash screen. So if I can get over that, you guys can get over it too. So make sure you're voting based on the appearance of the splash screen, not your memory of the event itself.
All right, so let's get into the picks here. So we'll start with the Memorable Events Conference. In this conference, the first splash screen is Superheroes from 2015. Then we have Tap Ball from 2015. Then we got Casino from 2016. Then we have Sci-Fi Future from 2016. We have Around the World from 2017. Secret Agents from 2017. Homerpalooza from 2017. And Springfield Jobs from 2018. Like you said, some really, really cool splash screens. So what are your thoughts, Alissa? Any clear favorites, or what are you seeing here?
So I think the clear favorite in this is likely Superheroes 1. I just remember from when it came out, everybody thought this was just an awesome splash screen. So I do think that's the clear favorite, followed closely likely by the Casino 2016 event. I think that was another really good splash screen. And I think kind of an outlier in this is going to be Homerpalooza splash screen, because it's very different than anything else in this, because everybody looks different. It's a totally different vibe to it. So I think that might be kind of an outlier with this one. So we'll see, but I'm excited about this. I'm excited about some of these matchups. And I should also mention Secret Agents is a pretty good one too. So this is a good category. This is going to be a tough one.
I agree. Forgettable events. While the events were forgettable, the splash screens definitely were not. We have some really, really cool splash screens here, starting off with Wild West 2016. Superheroes 2 from 2016. The Time Travel Toaster from 2017. Bart Royale from 2018.
Oh, Bart Royale.
Mozart from 2018. Game of Games from 2019. Simpsons Babies from 2019. And Simpsons Wrestling from 2020. All right, let's head to our Queen Addict. So what are your thoughts on this category, this conference?
I may not have a lot of insights about a lot of things, but I really have some insights about how these splash screens look. So I'm excited about this. I think out of this one, I think the outlier with this one is going to be Simpsons Babies, because it's pretty generic. I feel like it's your basic splash screen with, miniature versions of Homer, Marge, Bart, and Lisa. So that one, it's that one I feel like is kind of forgettable, not to sway anyone's vote on that. I do think, as much as I didn't like Bart Royale or Game of Games, I think those are two of the most fun splash screens there are in this. And also Time Travel Toaster is a lot of fun too. I like that one as well. So this is going to be another good matchup.
Nice. All right, heading down to the bottom portion of the bracket, let's head over to the Game Changers category.
This one's tough. Sorry, this one's going to be tough. This definitely gives me some anxiety.
This category includes splash screens from events that really changed our game. They either introduced something new to the game, something memorable, changed the format of the game, or opened up a whole new area of Springfield. So that's where these splash screens came together. So we have Squidport 2013, which introduced the Squidport. Krusty Land 2013, which of course introduced Krusty Land. Stonecutters 2014, which just set the bar for all sorts of interactive features. Terwilligers 2015, which brought in Sideshow Bob as a full-time character. Monorail 2015, surprise, surprise, this is where the monorail came into our game. Itchy and Scratchy Land 2018, which is where they blew up Krusty Land and brought Krusty Land into main Springfields. A Simpsons Christmas Special 2018, which is where they changed things to the current 4-act format that we're familiar with today. And Northward Bound, which unlocked all sorts of land north of Springfield Heights. All right, so again, the key here, Alissa, I'm not asking what's your favorite event. I'm just asking about the splash screen. So what are your thoughts on the splash screens for these 8?
So what's interesting about this category is probably hands down everyone's favorite event, Stonecutters, is probably the least interesting splash screen. It is so basic. It is so generic. I don't expect Stonecutters to go very far, as long as people are voting based on the look of the splash screen and not the nostalgia of the event itself. My 2 favorite in this, and this is going to be our first matchup, Squidport versus Northward Bound. That's going to be a tough one because those are 2 of my favorite splash screens. I think Northward Bound edges out Squidport. In my opinion, because I think that's just the best splash screen we've ever seen in this game with the Northern Lights, and that probably would be my pick to go all the way. But Squidport versus Northward Bound is going to be one matchup to watch. Also, Terwilligers is a fascinating one because that is the only splash screen we've ever had that Homer is not featured. Fascinating as that sounds. It's just Sideshow Bob. But I don't expect Stonecutters to go far as long as people are voting properly. And I do pick Northward Bound as my pick, I think, to go all the way. I don't know if it's going to win yet, but that's my pick to go to the final.
Nice. All right. Then we move on to the holidays category. The holidays category features Valentine's Day 2013, Valentine's Day 2014, Easter 2014, Thanksgiving Mini Event 2017, Love Springfieldian Style 2019, Thanksgiving Mini Event 2019, Black History Month 2020, and lastly, Love and War 2021. All right, so of all the splash screens that were based on holidays, what are your thoughts, Alissa?
So what's kind of interesting about these is they're all kind of the same. Most of them feature Homer on the green grass walking. Valentine's Day 2014 is one of my more favorite ones because he's on the beach and that's fun. But actually, Valentine's Day 2014. Sorry. The other thing is the only 2 really interesting ones in that bracket for me are Love Springfieldian Style and Love and War. So I think those 2 are going to come down to that's going to come out of our final with this event. And I think my own personal opinion out of this category, I think Love Springfieldian Style is going to edge everything else out of this category and emerge the winner of this conference.
All right, let's see if you're right. We'll find out in the next 8 weeks. Halloween, we're moving to the other side of the bracket now. So here we have 8 of the Halloween splash screens. Of course, there are more than 8 Halloween splash screens, but a couple of them were put into a category that we'll talk about later. But let's go into the 8 Halloween splash screens that are in this conference. We have Halloween 2014, Halloween 2015, Halloween 2016, Halloween 2017, Halloween 2018, Halloween 2019, Halloween 2020, and Halloween 2021. So, I mean, the Halloween event really is like the hallmark of Tapped Out and TSTO and the Simpsons TV show in general. We're hoping that the bracket battle will be wrapped up before this year's Halloween episode anyways. But what are your thoughts on all of these Halloween splash screens? Do any of them stand out to you as really memorable?
So you just reminded me with this bracket that Terwilligers is not the only event where Homer was not featured on the splash screen. Halloween 2019, Homer is also not on the splash screen. Terwilligers at the time was the first time Homer was not featured on the splash screen. So Halloween 2019, there is no Homer. It's Kodos and Kang, as you guys saw. This is going to be probably one of the hardest brackets because every Halloween splash screen is awesome. They're all so awesome. I do think my thing is my favorite Halloween isn't in this bracket. But I think we're going to see probably Halloween 2014 do well in this conference. I really enjoyed that one, as well as 16 and possibly Halloween 2020. I thought that was a good one too. So this one though, I think is going to be the hardest bracket for people to decide because one, everybody loves a Halloween event, and two, these are really, really good ones. The only one that's probably not so great is the one where Homer's not featured, and that's Halloween 2019 with Kodos and Kang. It's just kind of like your generic one. There's nothing extra with it. So I'm not a huge fan of that one, but this one's going to be the bracket to watch, or the conference to watch, because this is a true toss-up. I have no idea who's going to win this one. They're all so good.
Nice. Well, let's see if that works. That plays out like that. The next conference is Christmas. And here again, there were more than 8 Christmas splash screens, but some of them fit into other categories better. So the 8 that are featured in the Christmas conference are Christmas Winter 2014, Christmas 2015, which was quickly followed by Winter 2015-2016, Christmas Winter 2016, Christmas 2017, Christmas 2019, Christmas 2020, and Christmas 2021. Well, I mean, Halloween is a hallmark of Tapped Out and The Simpsons, but we all know that Christmas is a hallmark of Alissa and your favorite
hallmark is the appropriate word to use too.
Exactly. So, I mean, there's no better person to ask this question to than you. What are your thoughts on these 8 splash screens?
I love them all. I do expect with this, I expect three to go far, and it's going to be kind of hard just based on the way they match up. But I do think Christmas 2015 and the Winter 2016, I think those two are going to go pretty far. But also Christmas, what year was it now? Christmas 2020, where we had the Clash of Creeds. I really think that's going to go far, just because it's probably one of the most interesting splash screens in this game, with everything that's going on in it. So I think that's probably what we're going to end up seeing. But I love them all. I have a hard time choosing. It's like trying to pick my favorite child. I can't. So I love them all.
Nice. All right, and then heading down to the bottom part of the bracket, we have the conference called Old School, and this features 8 of the first 14 splash screens. So 8 of the first 14 includes the very first splash screen, the Halloween 2012 splash screen, the Christmas Winter 2012 splash screen, Whacking Day splash screen, the new original splash screen that's used to this day in between events, Halloween 2013, Christmas Winter 2013, and Clash of Clones 2014. All right, so I mean, this is going back to the golden age of Tapped Out. What are your thoughts here on some of the old school original splash screens?
So this is kind of an interesting category because these old school splash screens were basically all the same. EA just tweaked a little bit here and there, but essentially they were all the same. They didn't start adding the fun elements to it until a little bit later on. So it's kind of like looking at the same repetitive splash screen with a different color, or Homer in a winter outfit running in snow instead of Homer in, running in grass being chased by Bart with an arrow. Like, it's not nothing crazy with these. I do think out of this, though, there are two that stand out to me, and that's Halloween 2013, which I will say that's my favorite Halloween splash screen, and it's just because of all the little fun elements they added to the gravestones on this one. And you guys will have to zoom in when we post this up. We'll have the actual image on the post, and you can zoom in and check out all those wordings on the and hidden meanings on those little tombstones, because I remember writing about this when it first hit. So Halloween 2013 and Clash of Clones 2014. I think those are the two standouts for this event, this category. Fortunately, they don't go up against each other in the first round, so I think we might get to see some good ones. But I do think those are the two that stand out to me as and will emerge from this. One of those two will emerge from this victorious.
Great. And as Old School featured 8 of the first 14 splash screens, it's only fair that New School will feature 8 of the last 14 splash screens. So this includes Game of Games sequel from 2020, the Van Houten's 2020 event, Rise of Robots 2021 event, Springfield Enlightened 2021 event, Into the Simpsons Verse 2021 event, Cirque du Springfield 2022 event, the recently completed Hell on Wheels 2022 event, and this one will also feature the splash screen that we don't know yet when it will be, but from the very next event, the 64th splash screen of Tapped Out will also be featured in this category, and its matchup will be in week 5. So I mean, 6 weeks from today, it will be going up against Game of Games sequel. So what are your thoughts on the 7 splash screens we know, and what about this mystery element that may come from an unknown splash screen?
So this one, I think is I know I've said this a couple times. This is going to be a really hard category because the new splash screens are so good. They're, even if the game is the game itself, the event itself is terrible, as you all know how I feel about Rise of the Robots, Hot Dog Cooker Bot. These are really good splash screens. Like the design element is really good. Springfield Enlightened is probably one of my favorite ones. I really enjoyed that splash screen. And I know there was an alternate splash screen with this that not everybody saw, but it was a really good splash screen. There's so much going on. There are people on that splash screen that have never been on a splash screen before. You've Carney on a splash screen. I mean, it's awesome. And Into the Simpsons Verse is also another fun splash screen. So, I mean, this one's going to be really tough. Out of that, though, I do think the 2 lesser splash screens that probably won't go very far in this, or shouldn't go very far. Oh, the Van Houten event. I don't think that kind of reminds me of Valentine's Day 2014, I believe it was. So I don't feel like that one should go very far. It's not super memorable. And the other one is, as much as I don't like Rise of the Robots, it's a fun splash screen. It's an interesting splash screen, but I don't think that one's going to go super far in this category. I just think there's so many better ones with this one. But I do expect my picks to go far in this one are the Springfield Enlightened and Into the Simpsons Verse. I think those are 2 of the better ones out of this category. I'm excited about this one, though.
Excellent. And yeah, we'll see what the 64th splash screen is that's going to come into play, and see how much of an impact that has. That matchup will be coming to you guys on July 2nd, so keep an eye out for that. Yeah, so as Alissa mentioned, starting next Saturday, June 4th, the bracket battle will be underway, and we start with 64 splash screens. We'll cut it down to 32, then 16, then 8, then 4, then 2, and then on September 10th, we will announce the one splash screen that all TSTO addicts felt was the best splash screen of them all. And again, just want to remind everyone, please, please, please try not to vote based on how you felt the event was. We're just talking about the splash screen. As Alissa mentioned, I mean, some of her least favorite events had her favorite splash screens. So yeah, try to keep that in mind. I know it's hard to keep that bias out completely, but try your best as much as possible. Any thoughts? Any last thoughts, Alissa, about the bracket battle?
Yeah, and to add to that, some of the best events, like Stonecutters, have one of the worst splash screens. So, really look at it, focus on what the splash screen itself looks like, look at the creativity of it, look at any hidden little things on there. Some of them have Skyfinger. Like I know Black History Month had Skyfinger looking interesting with Dr. Hibbert. So there's some really fun elements with this. So really make sure you study the splash screens, you look at the splash screens, and you base your vote on the splash screen itself and not the event. So if you're doing this correctly, I do not expect Stonecutters to go very far. Just saying. But I think that's everything. With that, I think we're off. And thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And be sure to vote in the upcoming bracket battle. The voting starts next Saturday, June 4th. Special thanks to Super Safi for putting this together. He is the bracket battle master himself. We couldn't do it without him. And we are grateful for this fun summer challenge we have every year. So that we are off. Thanks for watching. We will see you guys next time, and enjoy the rest of your Saturday.